Yeah. Okay, let's do this, you guys. Are you with the mortuary?
I'm with the third party.
Are you Stony? No, okay. Okay, anyway, thank you. So it's set up so that everything can be seen here, right? Because my friends, everyone who's watching, family who's watching, they'll be able to see it here.
Oh, is this being?
Which is, and yet I can still recognize it.
Oh, that's right in.
Is that Amy?
You have two kids?
Hi, Amy.
Just come towards it, right? You're a mourner.
So, how did you end up family?
Let's make sure that we're not blocked.
Is this happening now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Stan.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we get started, if I could remind everyone to please turn off your cell phones for the service.
I can't leave.
Find Jessica.
Oh. It's going to read one psalm.
So this picture, anyone you want to read something? Oh my God, Jessica sent it to me. Yes.
I got a good balance.
Always.
English.
This year.
Oops, yeah, but you have 2,000.
We did have a house.
King Solomon said, "There is a time for everything under the heavens, a time to love, a time for war, and a time for peace, a time to rejoice, and a time to mourn. Today is time to mourn. Our hearts are heavy with grief, our minds are blurred with sadness, as we try to wrap them around the realization that the life of Leah Stein, who is in so many ways epitomized life, has sadly come to an end." My name is Shalom. I'm filling in for Rabbi Mendel Mintz, which is on his way here. Hopefully he'll make it in time. We're going to read a little bit of Tehillim, and then some people are going to tell some stories, and then we'll continue from there. אשרי האיש אשר לא הלך בעצת רשעים, ובדרך חטאים לא עמד, ובמושב ליצים לא ישב, כי אם בתורת אדוני חפצו, ובתורתו יהגה יומם ולילה. והיה כעץ שתול על פלגי מים, אשר פריו ייתן בעיתו, ועלהו לא ייפול, וכל אשר יעשה יצליח. לא כן הרשעים, כי אם כמוץ אשר תדפנו רוח, על כן לא יקומו רשעים במשפט, וחטאים בעדת צדיקים, יודע אדוני דרך צדיקים, ודרך רשעים תאבד. Happy is the one who has not followed the counsel of the wicked, nor stood in the path of sinners, nor sat in the company of the scornful. Rather, that one's delight is in the Torah of the Lord, meditating in God's Torah day and night, and will be like a tree planted by the streams of water that yields its fruit in season, whose leaf will not wither, and whatever that one does prospers. Not so the wicked, who are like chaff that the wind drives away. Therefore the wicked shall not survive judgment, nor sinners in the assembly of the righteous. For the Lord loves the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked is doomed. אשת חיל מי ימצא ורחוק מפנינים מכרע. בטח בא לב בעלה ושלל לא יסר. גמלתהו טוב ולא רע כל ימי חייה. דרשה צמר ופשתים ותעש בחפץ כפיה. הייתה כאוניות סוחר ממרחק תביא לחמה. ותקום בעוד לילה ותיתן טרף לביתה וחוק לנערותיה. זממה השדה ותיקחהו, מפרי כפיה נטעה כרם. חגרה בעוז מותניה ותאמץ זרועותיה. טעמה כי טוב שכרה לא יכבה בלילה נרה. ידיה שילחה בקישור וכפיה תמכו פלך. כפה פרסה לעני וידיה שילחה על האביון. לא תירא לביתה משלג כי כל ביתה לבוש שנים. מרבדים עשתה לה, שש וארגמן לבושה. נודע בשערים בעלה ושבטו עם זקני הארץ. סדין עשתה ותמכור וחגור נתנה לה כנעני. עוז והדר לבושה ותשחק ליום אחרון. פיה פתחה בחוכמה ותורת חסד על לשונה. צופיה הליכות ביתה ולחם עצלות לא תאכל. קמו בניה ויאשרוה בעלה ויהללה. רבות בנות עשו חיל ואת עלית על כולנה. שקר אכן והבל היופי אישה יראת אדוני היא תתהלל. תנולה מפרי ידיה ויהללוה בשערים מעשיה.
A gallant woman who can find, far beyond pearls is her worth. Her husband's heartful trust is in her, and he shall lack for nothing. She bestows good upon him, and never harm. All the days of her life, she seeks out wool and linen, and her hands work willingly. She is like a merchant fleet, bringing her sustenance from afar. She arises while it is yet night and gives provisions to her household and directions to her maidens. She envisions a field and acquires it. From the fruit of her handiwork, she plants a vineyard. With vigor, she girds her loins and strengthens her arms. She discerns that her enterprise is good. Her lamp does not go out by night. Her hands she stretches out to the distaff, and her palms support the spindle. She spreads out her palm to the poor and extends her hands to the destitute. She fears not snow for her household, for her entire household is clothed with scarlet wool. Fine covers she made herself, linen and purple wool are her clothing. Prominent in the gates is her husband as he sits with the elders of the land. She makes a cloak and sells it, and deals a belt to the peddler. Strength and splendor are her remit. She cheerfully awaits the last day. Her mouth is open with wisdom, and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue. She oversees the ways of her household and partakes not of the bread of laziness. Her children arise and praise her. Her husband and he lauds her. Many daughters have accomplished well, but you surpass them all. Grace is false and beauty is vain. A woman in awe of God. She should be praised. Give her the fruits of her own hand and let her deeds praise her in the gathering places.
We'll read a few chapters from Tehillim. מזמור לדוד, אדוני מי יגור בעולך, מי ישכון בהר קודשך, הולך תמים ופועל צדק ודובר אמת בלבבו. לא רגל על לשונו, לא עשה לרעהו רעה, וחרפה לא נשא על קרובו. נבזה בעיניו נמאס, ואת ירא אדוני יכבד. נשבע להרע ולא ימיר, כספו לא נתן בנשך. ושוחד על נקי לא לקח, עושה אלה לא ימות לעולם. The song of David, Lord, who may sojourn in your tent, who may dwell on your holy mountains. One who walks in purity, does what is righteous, and speaks the truth from the heart, who has no slander on the tongue, nor has done harm to a fellow, nor casts disgrace toward a neighbor, in whose eyes a contemptible person is repulsive, but who honors those who are in awe of the Lord, who swears truthfully even to personal hurt, and never retracts, who does not lend money on interest, nor takes a bribe against the innocent. One who does these things shall never falter. מזמור לדוד, אדוני רועי לא יחסר, בנאות דשא ירביצני, על מי מנוחות ינעלני, נפשי ישובב, ינחני במעגלי צדק למען שמו, גם כי אלך בגיא צל מוות לא ירא רע, כי אתה עמדי. שבטך ומשענתך המה ינחמוני, תערוך לפניי שולחן נגד צורריי. תישנת בשמן ראשי, כוסי רוויה, אך טוב החסד ירדפוני כל ימי חיי, ושבתי בבית אדוני לאורך ימים.
A song of David. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not lack God. I shall not lack. God causes me to lie down in lush pastures. God leads me beside tranquil waters. God restores my soul and guides me in righteous paths for God's name's sake. Now I walk through the valley of shadows of death. I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your scepter and staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in full view of my adversaries. You have anointed my head with oil, my cup overflows. May only goodness and kindness pursue me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord for length of days.
מכתם לדוד, שומרני אל כי חסיתי בך. אמרת לאדוני, אדוני אתה וטובתי בא ללך. לקדושים אשר בארץ המה, ואדירי כל חפצי בם. ירבו עצבותם אחר מהרו, בא להסיח נזקיהם מדם, ובא לישא את שמותם על שפתי. אדוני מנת חלקי וחוסי, אתה תומך גורלי. חבלים נפלו לי בנעימים, אף נחלת שפרה עליי. אברך את אדוני אשר יעצני, אף לילות תסרוני חיליותיי. שיביתי אדוני לנגדי תמיד, כי מימיני בא למות. לכן שמח ליבי ויגל כבודי, אף בשרי ישכון לבטח. כי לא תעזוב נפשי לשאול, לא תיתן חסידך לראות שחת. תודיעני אורח חיים, סובה שמחות את פניך, נעימות במנחה נצח. Jessica will come in and say a few words, and then after her, if anybody else would like to say something.
First of all, I want to thank Shalom, who is like an understudy of grand proportions. I would like to thank my family and friends who made extraordinary effort to be with us. Our cousin Krista Stein, who flew and drove and went through hoops to get here. For my dear friends, Jennifer O'Sullivan, and then also Debbie Rose, laden with bagels from New York. I also would want to acknowledge the dear ones who are watching the live stream. I don't know everyone who's watching, but I do know our Auntie Carol and Rachel Siboney, possibly Dr. Bill Silvers, Wendy Siskin, and many other precious people. So I want to acknowledge you and thank you for being here. And all the people who are here in body, thank you so much for being here to celebrate our mother, a force of nature. My siblings Also want to thank Gladys, who's not here, Mummy's warm and dependable long-term friend, as well as Amy, who is always a friend in need and who was there in Mummy's last days. We want to thank Deidre, who we haven't known very long, but who cared for our mother in the last months of her life, doing everything in her power to keep her comfortable. We want to thank Aspen Compassion and Hospice of the Valley. All were professional, respectful, and amazing. Finally, we wish to thank Rabbi Mendel Mintz, who's stuck in an airport somewhere or in the air currently.
That's his helicopter.
He wanted to be here, but we had the understudy who was pretty good. We wanted to thank Rabbi Mendel Mintz and his wife, Liba, who have guided us and supported our family every step of the way. Our mother loved them and their family and the community so much, and she was loved in return. Mummy was my oldest friend, really. There was a time when it was just the two of us. I was the boss from day one, and I was spoiled as hell. I remember her making me endless crepes with lemon and sugar for breakfast when I was a little girl. When I was in nursery school at Halloween, she came and made us masks out of paper bags. When I complained that they made me take naps in nursery school and I didn't want to do it, that was the end of it. I never went back to nursery school. I was the boss. I was beloved. She was a fierce mama bear who never accepted anything without question. When I was born in 1964, the nurse brought her a pill and my mother said, "What is that?" And they said, "That is drying up pill." My mother was horrified, ahead of her time, and she denied the pill and insisted on nursing me. Whenever she had a question about mothering, she was very clear on this. She asked, "What would a bear or a wolf do?" She was a ferocious defender of anyone unfairly treated or vulnerable. When we lived in Philadelphia when I was little and my brother was an infant, a huge man followed us home, loomed outside the window, threatening to break into our apartment. Mustering inhuman strength with Peter on her hip, she smashed the window on this man with her bare fist and scared him away. Bloody and terrified, she ran out, found the police, and gave them a description. The police brought her the first young, skinny black man they grabbed off the street and tried to get her to agree that he was the attacker. She looked into that man's eyes and saw the fear, and as the police were abusing an innocent boy, she screamed at them to let him go, that he wasn't even remotely the right guy. She would never forget how the life of that man was in her hands at that moment, as those police tried to coerce her. It is hard to remember lately the essence of her, obscured by bedridden years racked with pain and isolation. But her essence is much more than those times. She loved to move. She had a small herd of goats. In fact, her best friend was a goat named Mama Goat. She walked in the mountains with her long skirt flowing. That's who she was. She was a dancer. She was whimsical. Mummy is an artist and a poet. At home, my siblings and I keep discovering outpourings of creativity that nobody ever saw in the form of incredible drawings and prolific poetry. Her essence was mother, Mummy. But along with all of that, she was a gunslinging defender of wildlife and the environment. She loved animals. She was a fighter. She was a proud Jew. She always took a stance and was never afraid to say it, even if it offended people. And she did alienate people. As her child, I can tell you how much it made me cringe. There was so much about her that I was always trying to change, like that was even possible. She taught me so many things about being a girl, a woman. She even taught me how to make my bed. I remember all of it. She was gentle and kind and generous, but never gave an inch to be someone other than she could be fiercely herself, for better or for worse. I can't pretend that I don't have regrets, but I know now that she is gone, that all of those things no longer matter. I am no longer ashamed or trying to change anything that was her. All is forgiven. When you lose your mother, you lose a part of yourself. But I also know that each of us, my sisters and brother and my nieces and nephews, we are her. I too am Mummy. We love you forever, Mummy. And we know that you love us. Serafina.
Jessica's much better at this. Um, so my husband Jordy and my daughters Isha and Maya have joined on the live stream. So I'm speaking on their behalf also. We are who we are because of our mother, and I am grateful for that. I'm grateful for my sisters and my brother, and for our mother's decision to live here in this beautiful place, and for teaching us to appreciate good and honest food, art, words, nature, and justice. I am even grateful for all the difficulties because they have also shaped us and brought us together in this moment. Our mother's beautiful but painfully imperfect self embodied so much love and yearning that her life could not contain it fully. Now she is free from suffering, and we, her children and grandchildren, carry her love of life onward into the future. So Anna is going to. Oh. Okay.
Take your time, the rabbi is almost here.
I attribute Gia being so well adjusted and confident to Leah. I also feel like, and always have, that I hit the lottery meeting Leah when Gia was about 2 months old. I was building my business, so I needed help, and Leah needed company. So it was perfect. But it wasn't only perfect, it felt miraculous to me. Leah never put Gia down. She held her in her arms all day long. Like, how did I get so lucky? What more could a working mom want? As Gia got older, it got even better. It was like a class of the humanities, art, music, cooking, culture, design, nature. It was delightful. Gia was learning the finer things in life. I felt like Gia was better off every time I picked her up. Her hair definitely was in the perfect little French braids, or bundles as Leah called them. Leah's attention was undividedly on Gia, whether in the burrow, the bear house, or the ducky pond, watching the fluttermice. These times made Leah so happy, especially when Ishala, Myla, and Gila were all together. As Gia got older and the matzo balls got bigger, she still loved going to Leah's house. Eric would take her swimming at the Hunter Creek pool on Saturdays when I worked, and Gia would inevitably want to stay for dinner. We were like, sweet, date night. I hope Leah has been reunited with her father that she missed so much.
Hi, I'm Ruth Harrison, and I taught all 4 of the kids. Well, I taught, I don't know if they learned, but I taught. You do? For better or worse? Just checking on them. Leah was a beautiful person, both inside and out. She just gave and gave and gave, and I spent a lot of time with the family in the 70s. We did Passover together, holidays together, just hung out together. And, Leah was always outside with the animals. We'd be inside, where's Leah? With the animals, walking the goats, playing with the goats. You couldn't find her. Her life was, besides her children, was totally the animals. And she was such an incredible person, and she had a very difficult life, and she really deserved better. And, the 4 shining stars are right here. They gave her a reason to live. So I could have been a better friend towards the end, and I wasn't. you know, we just lose contact, lose touch, and have regrets. But I know Leah was loved, and I hope she knew it. So thank you all, and it's wonderful to see the kids. Yes, they're kids.
When Jessica asked me to say something, I start thinking, because I know Princess Leah since, or almost since I came here, long time. So when she asked me to say small story, I tried to write something, and one story coming into my mind. And when I was living in Snowmass, actually, when I got my green card, I did myself a small party. And of course, Leah, Princess Leah, how I know, she was there. And we have music, and all of a sudden she stand up, she changed the music, and she started dancing ballet. Ballet dance. She loved dancing. So it was, I tried to think about more story, but this one stuck by myself. And that's it. Princess Leah, may you rest in peace. Thank you. Here.
Everyone, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to read some things that family and friends who couldn't be here sent, thoughts and poems. I'll try to read them without crying too much. And so I'll take my time and maybe take some breaths. And if everyone who's watching, Auntie Carol, Rachel, Wendy, love you. And so first, Gladys, our mother's best friend in recent years, who provided her so much joy and companionship when it was so difficult for our mom to leave her house, is in Puerto Rico caring for her own mother right now. And she wrote this to us. Leah was a proud woman, a beautiful woman who loved bright colors and always wore makeup like a makeup artist. She was her own makeup artist, a fashionable stylist who walked into rooms like a dancer. She was a good mommy, very proud of her children and grandchildren, very proud of their accomplishments and successes. I learned so much from her. She was a wise lady, my best friend. We became friends instantly. There was a connection, and we spent a lot of time together, hanging at her place, though we did go out some Saturdays after sunset. We went to Jimmy's for Latin dancing. Leah danced without taking a break. We went to St. Regis to listen to jazz. Our friendship was a game for me. I miss her dearly, and she will always be in my thoughts. Harlow Voorhees, my brother's wonderful father, sent this message from San Francisco. Leah, my first love, barely through our teens. We grew up together, briefly, but always in my heart. Her first son-in-law, Steve Wiegand, who was in New York, wrote, "She was a great mother-in-law. My memory of Mommy is that she was very whimsical, which I loved. Another memory was that after skiing on Christmas Day, we would come home to a delicious chicken dinner, which made the whole house smell warm and comfortable." And her second son-in-law, Joydeep Singapuri, who was in India, sent this note. "I remember Leah as always welcoming, vivacious and full of life. She was an amazing grandmother to our children. Leah also made the best pasta sauce and challah in all of Colorado. We shared so many laughs over Seinfeld episodes late into the night at 910 Vine Street. Rest well, Leah. We miss you." I didn't practice as much as my sisters. I had a raging headache this morning. Our New Jersey cousins, Sarah and little Jessica, wrote this sweet poem in honor of their Aunt Leah. Now I'm going to start getting really teary, so hold on. I'm doing great, Tiny. So much to read. Memories of our Aunt Leah are surprisingly clear, like the sound of her laugh that we so love to hear. The images that we recall of her long silky hair blowing freely in the fresh mountain air. Her beautiful smile that lit up a room, the sparkle in her eye that made men swoon. Her hips and her arms moved with such grace. In the swirl of scarves, she would dance through space. The smell of her bread baking would fill the teepee, served with a cup of goat's milk that was as sweet as could be. The love of our aunt is something we cannot forget, but we lost touch. But that we lost touch is something we will always regret. And finally, in New York with our dear friend Rachel is Auntie Carol, the person on earth who at 94 years old has known our mother the longest of anyone. Big leaves a big empty space. She dazzled, she insisted. She didn't overcome her many difficulties, but stood up to them. Mostly she lost. In constant physical pain, she walked in beauty. Now Serafina will read a poem by her daughter Maya, our mother's first grandchild. Maya's watching. So, Tunani, your house is where magic lives, gleaming light off windowsills, and books and dolls and disco balls, and dinner parties with bears. Together we make happy messes, pink smiles on piles of sequined dresses that shimmer like aspen leaves in breeze who whisper, "Don't worry." I hear you in the aspen trees. It's because of you that I believe there's magic in our heartbeats, in sunlight and in dancing feet. What a gift to be called beautiful by the beautifulest of them all. You're the reason I sing out, the reason I stand tall. I hope you're running with the wolves tonight, with battalions of stallions in prairies wild, across starry night skies with eyes open wide, like your pretty wings, wings meant to take flight. So for now, we'll stay and you'll go from your house where magic lived. We'll stay and grow and always know it's true that magic lives on, as do you.
Rabbi, did you check if he's landing? Ask a little bit of the story, so I thought I'd share with everyone that mission. What we're doing is an act of kriyat. In Hebrew, that's Hebrew word to rend or tear. Well, we as physical humans, as beings, we like to do something with our hands. And it's representative really of this tear in our heart, the tear in the fabric of your family's woven stories. And with this fabric, as you tear it, you hear it and you feel it just a little bit. And it's a little bit of a expression and release of some anger, the sadness, often with grief. And so this is an outward symbol that you're a mourner. If I were to run into you at the grocery store or out about for these next 7 days or however long you choose to wear it, I don't walk up to you and say, "Oh, hi, how are you?" I immediately know you're a mourner. To address you, what can I do for you? But it's also symbolic of this internal tear of your heart. And just like with this fabric that can be, in ancient times, you really tore your own clothing, and you'd sew it back up after a while. That if you would tear something and sew it back up, you can always see that it was torn and that it was repaired. And it's symbolic of your hearts that they have been torn, and as you heal, it will be repaired. So there is a quick prayer to be said, and you can recite it after me. Baruch, Dayan, Amen. As blessed are you, true judge. Blessed are you, true judge. A little bit, so you hear it and you feel it. That's fine. Thank you.
The rabbi just landed. He's coming from the airport. We just wanted to wait for him so we could give the eulogy. Wonderful mother. Or we can silence.
There's still some reading.
Oh,
We can read it.
Oh, we can read. Should we tell everybody about Shiva? Oh, yeah. Yeah, tomorrow at 9:10, you'll be there. If anyone would like to come, come one. We're not sure. Anytime after. Anytime after what? We've done this before. Yeah, but anyway, 910 Vine Street.
Mendo's not here, but he always says that I speak so long that they have to remove me. But I think that's the goal now because they say we got to wait for the rabbi. But the reality is, we got to the Chabad, and before we knew our wonderful friends Peter and Jen and the boys Levi and Ryder, who turned out to be my oldest son's best buddies that they'll know for the rest of their lives, we knew Leah. Now, it really wasn't until I got here today that they said, the rabbi's not here. And I said, I thought she was the rabbi, because when you got to the community, she acted like she was the rabbi of the congregation. And it took a long time to realize that she wasn't the rabbi, that Mendel had competition. But I'll tell you, Mendel loved her. And they had a wonderful, wonderful relationship. And when your mother became infirmed, we really missed her as part of our community because she was such a vital part of who we were. And I mean vital. When she learned that I was close to Ryder and Levi, she always wanted me to tell you boys, don't forget your Jewish heritage. And so I know that you were in Israel with us, and so she obviously was thrilled by that, but that was so important to her. And she loved all of you, the four of you. Every time I saw her, she had stories from India, from Brooklyn, about Peter and the teepee. And I should have written them all down because they were magnificent stories. But Leah was an amazing institution in Aspen, Colorado. And if you never got to know Leah, you missed a real big part of Aspen. And so thank you for being such an important part to our community. Thank you.
That's why I said, doesn't just. I know I want to choose a bit. It's me lucky. I'm not going to this lucky. But when I know them, the kids, they you know them. Also.
נחתם לדוד, שומרני אל כי חסיתי בך, אמרת אדוני, אדוני אתה טובתי בא עליך, לקדושים אשר בארץ המה, ואדירי כל חפצי בם, ירבו עצבותם אחר, מהרו, בל אסיך נזקיהם מדם, ובל אשא את שמותם על שפתי. אדוני מנת חלקי וחוסי, אתה תומיך גורלי, חבלים נפלו לי בנעימים, אף נחלת שפרה עליי. אברך את אדוני אשר יעצני, אף לילות יסרוני חיליותי. שיביתי אדוני לנגדי תמיד, כי מימיני בא למות. לכן שמח ליבי ויגל כבודי, אף בשרי ישכון לבטח. כי לא תעזוב נפשי לשאול, לא תיתן חסידך לראות שחת. תודיעני אור החיים, סוב השמחות את פניך, נעימות במנחה נצח. נחתם לדוד. Guard me, God, for in you I have taken refuge. You have said to the Lord, you are my Lord. I have no God beyond you. As for the holy ones who are in the earth, and the mighty in whom is all my desire. Their sorrow will multiply those that run to other gods. Their blood libations will I not pour out, nor take their names upon my lips. The Lord is my allotted portion and my share. You sustain my fate. Portions have fallen to me in pleasant places. Lovely indeed is my estate. I will bless the Lord who has given me counsel. My conscience admonishes me at night. I have set the Lord before me always, because God is at my right hand. I shall not falter. Therefore my heart rejoices and my entire being exalts. Also my body will rest secure, for you will not abandon me to the grave, nor will you let your devout one see destruction. You will make known to me the path of life. In your presence is fullness of joy. There is delight at your right hand, for eternity. שיר למעלות, אשא עיניי אל ההרים, מאין יבוא עזרי. עזרי עם אדוני עושה שמיים וארץ. אל יתן למוט רגליך, אל ינום שומרך. הנה לא ינום ולא יישן שומר ישראל. אדוני שומרך, אדוני צילך על יד ימינך. יומם השמש לא יככה, וירח בלילה. אדוני ישמורך מכל רע, ישמור את נפשך. אדוני ישמור צאתך ובואך, מעתה ועד עולם. A song to ascents. I lift my eyes to the mountains. From where will my help come? My help comes from the Lord, maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot falter. Your guardian will not slumber. Behold, the guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. The Lord is your guardian. The Lord is your protection. By your right side. By day the sun will not harm you, nor the moon by night. The Lord will guard you from all evil. The Lord will guard your life. The Lord will guard your going and coming from now and forever. שיר המעלות, ממעמקים קראתיך אדוני, אדוני שמעה בקולי, תהיינה אוזניך קשובות לכל תחנוני. אם עוונות תשמור יה אדוני מי יעמוד, כי עמך סליחה למען תברא. קיוויתי אדוני קיוותה נפשי, ולדברו אוכלתי. נפשי לאדוני, משומרים לבוקר שומרים לבוקר. יחל ישראל את אדוני, כי אם אדוני החסד, והרבה עמו פדות, והוא יפדה את ישראל מכל עוונותיו.
Amen.
A song of ascents. Out of the depth I call you, Lord. Lord, listen to my cry. Let your ears be attentive to my supplicative plea. If you preserve the account of sins, God, Lord, who can survive? Pardon resides with you, so that you are held in awe. I hope for the Lord, my soul hopes. I wait God's word. I yearn more for the Lord than guards for the morning. Guards for the morning. Israel, wait for the Lord, for with the Lord is kindness and great redemption, and it is God who will redeem Israel from all its iniquities. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר יצר אתכם בדין וזן וכלכל אתכם בדין והמית אתכם בדין ויודע מספר כולכם בדין והוא עתיד לאחריותכם ולקיים אתכם בדין. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה המתים. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה מתים אתה רב להושיע, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו לישני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גברות ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים.
ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה המתים. אין לך יותר תפילות יש 150. יש.
You want to do it?
No, I'm afraid everyone's going to be so cold.
Okay.
Also, we just want to make sure that people don't talk to God after they can join us. We get too cold, we still talk to God after.
After it's lowered and after summer. gentlemen, this in Jewish tradition is an opportunity for kavod, the burial. And it's one of the most important things that we do during this entire Jewish process, not burial. And it's considered a chesed shel emet, a act of loving kindness. It is the greatest act of loving kindness that we can provide because she can no longer give back to us. So it's fully selfless that we are now participating in this burial process. So we are to take our own shovel full, don't hand it to the person next to you. So when you're done, you put it right back in. They take their own shovel full and just place a little bit on. We are supposed to hear that harshness of the earth hitting the top of the casket. Our tradition bids us to face this reality head on. So don't try to put it off to the side or lay it in softly. We are not just throwing it in, of course, but it is purposeful to hear this earth at the top. If I can ask though, everybody please just use this area right here and walk straight back. There is a very large hole underneath this astroturf and we don't do 2 for 1s. So if you would stay here and walk back to the road as soon as the sheds are done. So if you guys want to come around, because I don't want you to come this way. Everybody's welcome to participate. Yes. Just the moving waters typically sometimes.
El Mali Rachamim Sheikhin Bamarim Bim Hamsi Menuch and Achain Al Kanfi Ashkina. Mailais Keteshim Utahim Kizer Harakim Asidimis Nishmas Leah Shahalka Le'ilama. Mavor Shanachna Mispalin Bi'ad Askaris Nishmasa Begani Intahim Menuchas Salachin Bal Haracham Yastira. Beseser Kinafav Le'ilam in the Yitzra Bitzra Hachaim Es Nishmasa Adinayu Nachalasa. Amen. God, full of compassion, who dwells on high, grant proper repose on the sheltering wings of your presence in the lofty levels of the holy and pure who shine like the brightness of the firmament to the soul of Leah, who has gone on to her world and for whose memory we pray. May her resting place be in paradise. May the master of compassion bring her under the cover of God's wings and bind her soul in the bond of life. May the Lord be her heritage, and may she resting place in peace. And we say Amen.
Amen.
I want to apologize first and foremost to Leah that I'm late, and she would give it to me, as she's done many times, and to her beautiful children and all of you. And I'm sure so much of what I want to say you heard already and you know already. But for the last couple of hours flying in, it was just the worst flight of my life, knowing what I'm missing. And I'm happy I'm here to pay my respects. And I was thinking, because Leah would want me to make a joke. So it's like Yogi Berra said, you should go to your friend's funeral so they will come to yours. But I want to express on behalf of so many who touched Leah, our condolences to all of you as we bid farewell to a truly unique and remarkable person And I want to just take, if I can, a couple of minutes to reflect on the Leah that I had the honor and privilege of knowing for exactly 25 years. While physically a small person, she was one of the strongest women I know. And she was stubborn. She wanted it her way and she got it her way, but it was for the good and for the better. But her compassion, her love, her warmth reminds me of the power of biblical women that we look up to and admire. And despite physical pain and many challenges throughout her life, she always saw the positive in other human beings and tried to maintain her own positive state of mind and well-being, notwithstanding challenges she would always deal with. She was a unique individual, a remarkable woman, and more than anything, a dedicated mother. She was proud of her children, nurturing them with warmth and love. Her devotion to her family, whether you always knew it or not, I don't know, but it was the foundation of her life. And frankly, it was boring for me to listen to because she spoke so much about you all. But it was the greatest joy was talking about her children, as a mother does, but she did it and did it proudly. She was also a very proud Jew, as many of us know. And the cornerstone of her life was her faith and the foundation. And in those quiet moments, those acts of kindness, of generosity, of helping people in need in so many ways, whether it was children or animals, she was always there to volunteer, to lend a helping hand, to deliver a meal in her days when she was a little more flexible and was able to get around a bit with her car, and never hesitated to share her time and love with others. Her commitment to Israel and to community was very deep. Many of you know about the photo she has hanging in her home of her holding a gun with soldiers of the IDF. She would always point to it very proudly and speak about the time she volunteered, I think in a kitchen on a base, and how proud she was to serve the soldiers. But above all, I think if you have to define Leah in one way, it would be a giant heart. Just a woman who was all heart. She had a special gift connecting to children, all children, and mine and others. She would take care of children more than a mother would take care of their own children. She had a great and deep love, and as some of you know that firsthand, and the genuine interest she took in their lives and will always be there. And one thing you know, if she was with your kids, they were safe. You don't know what else would happen, but they were safe. And she served as a mom for children, not just her own, but in the valley. And on a personal level, she was very defensive of her rabbi, as she would call me. And if someone dared say something about me that she didn't like, I would hear about it from them, not from her. She would not accept it. She's the first person I pretty much met when I moved here in 2000. And she made me feel very welcome, delivered food to my house within a day or two of us moving here, my little apartment on Aspen Street. And she did a lot of other things. She would tell me how the bears are hungry. So they're a diet of really berries and nuts or whatever, but it's very expensive to buy that. So she would make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, put them out in the woods, and they were always gone the next day. Who ate it? I don't know. But someone did, so it did some good. She set up the Kiddush and took pride in it, setting up the food, and would serve people unhappy after services that they were eating. For those who know the traditional Jewish service with the mechitza, if a man was in the wrong place, she took her cane and gently tapped him on the foot and said, wrong side. I couldn't do that, but she did. And she had a special chair that we got. I don't know what you call those chairs that she would sit in. And Shalom, who I know is here, would always come there with a pillow or a cushion or something for her to lean on, as she loved, and always made her comfortable. And she was picky where she wanted that chair to be at the services, usually close to me, and it was very special. And there's so much more we can talk about. Exactly tomorrow, which is my daughter's 24th birthday, born on a Saturday at 10 a.m. At 10:02 a.m., Leah was at the hospital. I'm not sure how she knew it got there, but she was the first to see my firstborn here 24 years ago. And I reminded my daughter Toby about that upon hearing of her passing. Her memory will be a blessing. The kindness that she performed will not die with her, but her legacy will continue. It'll be a living legacy I'll just conclude with one thought. The 16th century great mystic and sage, the Baal Shem Tov, who she was a fan of, was once asked what he does on the day of a funeral. And he answered that he does three things. He cries, he is silent, and the third one, that he sings. So his student said, we understand why you would cry. That's an understandable response and emotion. We understand why you would be silent. That also is understandable. But why would you sing on such a day? And his answer was that each person through the course of their lives create a song that is just their song, and that song is their life. How they lived, what they represented, what they stood for, what their morals were, what their values were, and what kind of person they were. Leah, your mom and friend, and someone important to so many of us, grandmother, someone who wrote a song that was just her life in her unique way. Let's take that song and take those instruments and continue to play it. Do acts of kindness and compassion as she would do. And then she lives on in our hearts and our minds and will give comfort to all of us. I just want to mention, if it wasn't yet, that there will be Shiva observed right after at JCC on Main Street. Is that correct? And tomorrow
afternoon, like 1 o'clock.
Tomorrow afternoon,
At
like
910
1 o'clock,
Vine Street.
at her apartment at 910 Vine Street.
We haven't been able to.
If you don't know
decide.
where that is, just call anyone and we'll
Hunter
share.
Creek.
Hunter Creek, exactly. So we'll say the Kaddish. If you all have, if the children and anyone else would like to join in. And you have it translated. Peter, Peter, you got that? Ready? All ready? Let's start together. Yitkadal, Yitkadash, Shemei Rabbah. Yalma, Yivrach, Yizte, Yamlik, Malchute. Chayechon, Yomechon,
חיי בכל בית ישראל, בעגלה בזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא. ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה שמי קדושה בריחו. לעילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה. תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן ועלמה ואמרו אמן.
יהי שלמה רבה משמיה,
וחיים טובים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומם, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן.
Feel free to linger or.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's enjoy the service. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jim. Yes, I really wanted to thank you. She's ascending. She is always an intergalactic. Oh.
Sorry?
Oh, okay.
By the way, that is multiple. I'll have to look at the first, make sure nothing that was, but you sat up. With that one, but then another one.
Yeah, warm and, yeah.
finish it up your eyes again, that's why you stop.
Absolutely. They're still at the top of the bolt down. We'll just look into it too.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Stony was here and said to be here just about
Her fault.
It's his-
We
it
should
was
have had a
his
private jet. This is flying United. Mom would have been proud if I had.
Thanks for coming, Josh.
Sure. Good to
Peter,
see
will you
you.
hold on one second? I've got some things.
I've heard so much about you from Grandma. She's good. So your name, your letter is after her father, Aaron, right?
Yes.
So she's very nice. She always said that every time. Wow, nice. You said you told her. Is it your first time?
No. Just go ahead and take it with you and open it up there so people can sign.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're in Prospect Heights. You're in Grand Heights, where are you?
Is anyone staying there? Okay, good.
Oh.
Schenectady from your school.
Yeah, no, I know. I know.
No, Toby, when Toby got married, she was at Troy.
That's the other Elvis from Huntington.
Toby LaToya got married.
So the also yeah, she lived in her first apartment across the street from the school.
Do you like it there?
Yeah. I mean,
Do you want to keep the cottage card? Do you want to keep that?
Leah.
You're welcome.
What was her mother's name?
Thanks, call if you need anything.
Phyllis.
She always told my mother. What was your